Hello, my name is Clive Omondi, Global Coordinator to the Children and Youth Major Group to UNEP, and also the co-chair of Group of Friends to facilitate civil society participation in stakeholders in UNEP-led processes. So today here, gathering in Nairobi, the theme of the Youth Environment Assembly resonates more with the UNEA 7 theme, which UNEA 7 theme is Advancing Sustainable Solutions for a Resilient Planet. But on the Youth Assembly, the theme is Power in Youth, basically how young people's energy around the world can be able to influence environmental governance. And gathering today in Nairobi, we are seeing today is the first day of the Youth Environment Assembly, whereby young people all over the world are gathering together to accelerate their meaningful participation in strengthening their participation in environmental governance. And also the Youth Environment Assembly is a space where young people continue to push their pivotal solutions or their positions into the UNEA 7 resolutions, decisions that will be negotiated in the next week in the OECPR. In the last sixth session of the UN Environment Assembly, we brought to Nairobi around 450 youths in the assembly. We came out with the Global Declaration on Environment, which was also referenced in the high-level political forum. But this year's youth assembly is quite different. We have a bigger number of young people, but this year's assembly also comes at a time where we are seeing a rot-up in the diplomatic front, mostly when you check on the multilateral setting. Geopolitics is shifting and multilateralism is under threat, and so we still see the need on having meaningful participation, because we feel the space is shrinking for us as young people in the civil society space as well. And that's why we see that Youth Environment Assembly is a momentum to galvanize opportunity on how we can be able to strengthen multilateralism, but how not only strengthen multilateralism but with youth included into the process. So how how Youth Assembly fits into UNEA? One, already young people are engaging in consultations of the UNEA 7 resolutions, and we've been providing tangible inputs into the last 2 weeks consultations, and we'll be continuing to provide inputs next week in the OECPR, the Open-Ended Committee of Permanent Representative Negotiations. We'll continue to provide those inputs on youth common positions. But these positions, they not just come from anywhere. We've been having regional consultative meetings, for example, in Africa here on the sidelines of the Africa Ministerial Conference of Environment and the sidelines of the regional consultative meeting. We were able to bring young people and develop their common position, and this was uniformly organized in all regions in Asia, in Latin America, and Caribbean, and all regions globally. And so all these positions that they are helping in developing youth common positions that help in redefining or restructuring the resolution that member states have tabled. And just particularly to mention the Sri Lankan resolution on advancing meaningful engagement of children and youth, which is very, very pivotal. And we are continuing to provide inputs into this session and how this session can be able to ensure that youth are included in all multilateral systems. Yes, one big hope is, because as UNEP is developing its next medium-term strategy, one thing that youth have requested UNEP is to include youth in the implementation approach of the medium-term strategy in the next phase, which is a strategic year of 2026 to 2029. And this will be also a very, very critical area on how young people can be able to participate and be engaged in UNEP-led projects. Secondly, not only taking part in the consultation, we've also been influencing a lot of processes, as mentioned earlier with the Deputy Executive Director, including the Science Policy Panel on Chemicals and Waste, which was set up this year. And now moving forward to next week into OECPR and UNEA, also going to see the adoption of the Youth Declaration, the Montaigne Youth Declaration, which is a landmark declaration adopted by youths recently. And these are also a way on how young people are trying to solidify their work into the policy processes. but also we are able to see on how young people can be able to take part directly into the consultation, because these years we've engaged with the presidency team, UNEA 7 presidency government of Oman, which has called for an iterative process into the negotiation process and early inclusion of young people into the resolution and into the negotiations, which we are seeing happening and ongoing. Actually, recently, Kenyan government celebrated 60 years of an environmental diplomacy, which is a landmark achievement for us here in Nairobi. And UNEP being Nairobi being the capital of environmental diplomacy, with also a new emerging conversation on how we can strengthen the role of Nairobi as a central capital for environmental diplomacy. Young people must be part and parcel of these decisions. And therefore, Youth Environment Assembly sets precedent on how young people can directly be engaged, already showing commitment and ambition on how we can be able to strengthen multilateralism, but also ensuring that intergenerational dialogue and intergenerational commitment, we are able to bridge that intergenerational divide. And through strengthening multilateralism and Youth Environment Assembly already coming with strong landmark declaration, which has already been acknowledged into the UNEP's this year's ministerial declaration. So this is how we are continuing to influence UNEA 7 processes, and how we are continuing to influence multilateralism, mostly on how we can ensure that multilateralism is inclusive, and how we can strengthen the barriers or the challenges that we're facing now in terms of multilateralism and the geopolitical gaps. Maybe my message, and also what is coming out of the Youth Assembly as we're moving forward to the OECPR, young people are calling for member states to ensure that they are able to galvanize momentum, ensuring that the resolutions that are being negotiated on are people-centered, and also resolutions that are able to protect the tangible will of the people and supporting the planet's well-being.